Hi everyone, welcome back to my sewing channel. If you're new here, I'm Amanda and I teach beginner-friendly sewing skills to help you feel more confident at your sewing machine. Today we're going to go over one of the most important beginner skills, and that is how to thread a sewing machine. I'll show you how to thread a domestic sewing machine from start to finish. I'm using a Singer Heavy Duty for this demonstration, but the good news is that most home sewing machines thread in a very similar way, with only a few small differences between models. That said, I always recommend checking your machine's manual while you're learning, because the exact path for your thread can vary slightly depending on the machine. Now you might be wondering, why is threading so important? If you're new to sewing, threading your machine correctly is absolutely key. And even if you've been sewing for a while, you'd be surprised how many sewing problems, like skip stitches or thread jams, can often be fixed by simply removing the thread and rethreading the machine entirely. So if you've ever had a machine that suddenly stops cooperating with you, this is a skill that will save you a lot of frustration. Let's go ahead and thread the top of the machine, and then we'll move on to the two types of bobbin styles. Let's start threading this machine. The first step is to take your thread spool and place it on the spool holder. Your machine may come with a few caps that you can use to hold the thread in place. Pull the thread up. Next, bring the thread into the first track and underneath this first bar. Next, we'll bring our thread through these thread guides or thread slots. In these slots are tension discs that are going to hold your thread in place and keep the tension as you sew your stitches. Bring your thread down and bring it back up. We're then going to bring the thread into this take-up lever. If your lever is not visible, turn your hand dial until the lever is visible. Bring the thread up into the take-up lever, then bring it back down. Continue following the thread slots. Next, bring your thread through this thread guide and then the needle thread guide. You can now thread your needle. Whenever working in this area and threading the needle, it's a good idea for safety to turn off your machine before threading or changing the needle. I like to clip my threads to make threading that needle easier. Some machines have an automatic needle threader. Check your manual if you have one and how to use it. Next, you can send your thread through that needle hole. Tuck your thread underneath the presser foot and pull to the back. Now that you understand how to thread the top thread, let's do the bobbin. This is where things can get quite different. Bobbin case location can vary. Your machine uses one or two styles, a top-loading bobbin or front-loading bobbin. I'll show you both types so you'll be able to follow along no matter which machine you're using. To wind a bobbin, grab your thread and bring it through the first thread guide. This machine includes guides for threading a bobbin as well as threading the entire machine. Once you go through this thread guide, we'll go through the bobbin winding tension disc. Bring it around and over. Your bobbin will generally have holes in it for your thread. Thread the end of the thread into one of the holes. Pull slightly and place it on the bobbin spindle. Then click your bobbin into place against the stopper. Hold the thread in one hand as you press on the presser foot to begin winding the bobbin. After a few turns, you can clip the thread coming out of that hole and continue winding your bobbin. On most machines, the stopper will automatically stop the bobbin when full. Once complete, pull your bobbin spindle over and up. Clip your threads and you can install your bobbin. Machines generally have two ways of installing a bobbin, either a top-loading bobbin like this or a front-loading bobbin. First, I'll show you this top-loading bobbin. Again, this machine has a diagram that you can follow. Begin by removing the bobbin cover and bring your full bobbin into place. You want the direction of your thread to go counterclockwise. Set the bobbin into the holder. Bring your thread around into this thread guide channel. Bring it up and back down. Some machines will have an automatic cutter that you can pull and it'll keep the thread in place. Once your bobbin is in place, reinstall the bobbin cover. Let's go over how to install a front-loading bobbin. Most machines that have a front-loading bobbin will have a little door in the front just like this. The bobbin casing is actually removable. Take your bobbin, have your thread go counterclockwise, and set it into the casing like this. Your thread then goes through this little groove, up and out, then back to the left. With the bobbin and thread in the right place and this part of the bobbin casing facing up, take the casing and snap it into place. You should hear it snap into the housing. Close the door and use your wheel to bring the thread up. New to sewing? You can download my free beginner sewing checklist. It's filled with lots of good information like tools you actually need to get started, troubleshooting, and pro tips. Just sign up with your email and it's free to you. Let's get sewing confidently.